As usual, we start with the vocabulary. And the first word in our vocabulary list, or actually two words, is absolute location. What does that mean? Absolute location. Well, you may know what location means. Location is, where something is. When we talk about location, we're talking about, is it in this state? Is it in this country? Is it on this street? Where something is. Absolute means very precise, very, very detailed. So absolute location means the exact is this, it means very precise or very accurate, exact location of a place. So some people might talk about absolute location. However, most people just say location. Absolute location is more of a technical term used for very precise language, okay? Most people just say location. What is the location of your school? Or where is your school located? You could also use it that way. Okay, let's move on. Relative location. See, now we saw absolute location. Now we have relative location, and we can tell from the different words that these two ideas are different. Absolute location is the exact location of an object or something. Relative location is a way of describing where something is by comparing it to other things. For example, you can see in this map here, right? You have my location, looks like an apartment building. Maybe you are in an office building. This could be an office building too. Let's say it's an office building. And where is your office building? Well, it's close to your home. It's about a block away from your home. So that's a relative location when you compare where something is compared to something else. Absolute location is just giving the information to say exactly where it is located. And we'll talk about that, of course, in this lesson. Okay, so that's the difference between absolute location, the exact location, and relative location, just where is it compared to other things. Okay. Next we have column. Column. Now sometimes you'll look at a table or maybe a map and you'll see that there are rows going across, right? There are numbers that might go across. We call those rows. There might be numbers going down. Those are called columns. So in a table there are rows and columns. So a column is a line of words or numbers written under each other that goes down a page. You read the column down from the top to the next underneath. You don't go like this, right? You read straight down. And on a row, of course, you read straight across, just like as if you're reading text or reading some English. English reads from left to right. Not all languages do, of course. Okay, that's a column. A row, we just talked about row. Row, of course, are the numbers of the words that are going across in a table or in some kind of grid. A grid is a system of lines going down, up and down, and across. That's a grid. And if you read the numbers or words on a grid that are going across, that is a row. So you might have several rows in your table. A row is a set of straight lines on a map that makes squares. You could also say that. On a map, you can divide your map with lines that are going up and down and also across. So you can see in the column on that map grid, you can go down the column or you can go across. And this is a good way to find something in a map, an absolute location, for example, because if you number the rows or the columns across the top, A, B, C, D, E, and you number the rows going down, 1, 2, 3, 4, you can say H4, and you go across H, that's your column. Go down the column until you see the row 4, and boom, it's in that square. If you ever play the game Battleship, that's exactly what's going on, right? You call out a number, A5, miss or hit, right? And then you hit the battleship or not. So that's a fun game to play, but that's exactly what we're talking about here with columns and rows. Okay. Map grid. Map grid, I just explained that, right? You take a map and you make a set of straight lines on a map that make squares. So you have lines that go up and down, usually north to south, because it's a map. And then you have lines that go from west to east, or east to west, it doesn't matter, south to north. But anyway, you have lines that are perpendicular to each other. That means a 90-degree angle, and they make squares on your map. So you have a map and you make these small squares on your map so that you can easily find out where something is. Like I said, you say, my house is located in H4. Yeah, my house is in that square. Okay, great. Now you can make the square small or you can make the squares big, right? So depending on how exact or detailed you want the map coordinates to be. Coordinates are a set of numbers that tell you where something is on a map. Okay, and the GPS system that you might use in your phone uses the same system. Okay. Next we have separate. Separate means apart from each other. They're not together, they are separate. Okay, so it just means apart from each other. And we have this is a very interesting picture, isn't it? Those are weird looking office buildings. It looks like they're going to fall. Oh no. No, of course I'm sure they're engineered so that they do not fall, but they're pretty cool looking, right? This is kind of cool architecture, right? Okay, so of course the office buildings were probably built by the same builder, maybe the same architect made them, of course, because it would look silly if there was just one of them. What's going on? So you have two of them, but they're not together physically, they are separate. Of course, they are together aesthetically in terms of their design. They're together, but they're not touching each other. They are separate. Envelope. Some people say envelope, envelope. Doesn't matter. It does. Nobody's going to care which way you say it. Envelope or envelope. Most people, I think, say envelope. Envelope, of course, is a paper container in which people put a letter or a card. Of course, if somebody has a birthday, you get them a birthday card, right? You sign the inside of the birthday card, then you close the card and you put it inside an envelope. And then you give it to the person. You put the person's name on it, right? Well, a long time ago, before you were born, people used to send paper to each other, and they called these things letters. Okay? They would write on a piece of paper their message, they would fold it up, put it in an envelope, and they would go to the post office and mail it. It takes maybe a day, sometimes several days, depending on how far away you're sending your letter. The other person would receive it and read your letter. Yeah, that was before email, of course. You probably have no idea. So anyway, an envelope, when you did that, you had to put the address, right, on the envelope. Of course, nowadays we still use that, but most of the time it's just boxes and company. Like you order something on the internet and the company will send it to you, but they put their address, not in an envelope, it's in a box because you ordered some goods. But they still put your address on it. So just basically an envelope is a paper container in which people put a letter or card. The idea, of course, is that we're writing the address here. Of course, nowadays, you're more familiar with boxes. Same idea. You still have to write somebody's address on this in this space so that the letter or the box gets to your house. Okay, those are our words for today.
Lesson 13. Maps and Locations. Absolute location. The exact location of a place. Relative location. A way of telling a location by comparing a place to another. Column. A line of words or numbers written under each other that goes down a page. Row. A line of things next to each other. Map grid. A set of straight lines on a map that make squares. Separate. Apart from another. Envelope. A paper container in which people put a letter or card.